In 1973, 9 astronauts were sent to live and work in the world's first space station, Skylab. Their mission was to observe the sun, free from the Earth's distorting atmosphere. They witnessed what no human being had seen before, a sun more powerful than they had ever imagined. Voyager was heading for 4 vast planets that could swallow Earth thousands of times. Jupiter, with its strange bands of cloud and its great red spot. A world crackling with radiation that can be heard from Earth. Beyond Jupiter was Saturn. How did this planet alone come to have its spectacular array of rings? Stranger still was Uranus. It was known from the way its moons were orbiting that Uranus had been tipped over on its back. Why should this be? Neptune was barely visible even through the most powerful telescopes. What kind of worlds were these? And what could they reveal about the solar system, of which Earth is such a tiny part?
Roger, 0G, and I feel fine. Capsule is turning around. Oh, that view is tremendous.
In the early 1960s, sending a spacecraft all the way to the giants was unthinkable. The Ranger probes were dispatched kamikaze style, sending back close-up pictures of the moon as they smashed into its surface.
First images showed something that almost no one had expected, and that is that at every scale, the moon was covered with craters.
That's affirmative. Yeah, the best one to know.
It seemed that a manned landing was just a step away. For the first time, the Americans had taken the initiative in the race to the moon.
The final encounter I was able to witness here at JPL with my youngest son, and we watched with fascination as the pictures of Neptune unfolded. Suddenly, things that no one had imagined were there. Here was a planet that was vibrant with life. It had its own great spot, a dark spot in this case, white clouds floating in its atmosphere, and these things unfolded before our very eyes, and what a wonderful surprise. Neptune, for me, was a great surprise.
There was something strange and eerie about Neptune because here, the last planet, you know, the sentinel at the outer edge of our solar system looks like Earth with its beautiful deep blue color and its white clouds floating in the atmosphere.
A total eclipse reveals the sun's corona, an outer layer normally lost in the glare.
A very eerie feeling and almost total silence. The birds stopped singing. And the only thing we could hear in the distance was the chanting from the mosques.
This is what early astronomers traveled the world to see. Within the corona were what looked like burning clouds. It seemed that the surface of the sun was smothered in a complex, raging atmosphere.
Well, you realize when you see these things moving that the sun is active. It's not just a quiet, passive ball of gas, but it's churning away. Interesting things are happening.
Flandreau discovered something that made the dream of a flight to the giants a real possibility. The race was on. Both sides began training their top fighter pilots for a mission to the moon. For the scientists who were also recruited, this was a unique chance to understand another world. But it was when Father Secchi turned his spectroscope to the stars that he made his most profound discovery. He recognized the pattern immediately. Their chemistry was all but identical to the sun. One of the great mysteries of the heavens had been resolved. Our sun was a star.
We thought we knew it all. But once again, we were looking at a very, very complex situation. The rings were broken up into mini rings. There were gaps in there. There were all sorts of dynamical phenomena that we didn't understand. So we very, very hurriedly reprogrammed Voyager 2 to take a much closer look at the rings.
When I began my work in about the 1964, I had suggested that one thing we could do with this particular mission was to fly between the planet and the rings. And very fortunately, we didn't do that because as we approached Saturn, we saw that the region there that we would have to have flown through with the spacecraft was filled with more rings.
As our sun dies, there's going to be other stars and suns that are born. And I would expect that by that time we will have been smart enough and moved far enough into the future to hitch a ride on another star out there and find another planet. When we go to a dark place anywhere here on Earth, in the desert somewhere, and we look up and we say, my